These atmospheric ruins have particular significance for democracy in our country. Find out where I am and why these old stones mean so much for Britain in just a moment. Today, our house-hunting pair are in search of a new rural home and a new venture to keep them busy in retirement.
OK.
Very different offering.
It is a totally different offering.
Yeah.
And our property hunt gets rather magical. You've gone off with the fairies,
sorry.
Martin. Are you dreaming about waking up here, or are you worried about woodworm?
No.
Woodworm.
Today we're in Shropshire, and this is Acton Burnell, and these two red sandstone gables are all that remain of the Parliament Barn, so called because it was here in the late 13th century that Edward I called a very special parliament. It was the first time that the commoners and the nobility came together to discuss and make decisions. So in many ways, although it's a ruin, the meeting that happened here 700 years ago was a turning point in British parliamentary history and the birth of the House of Commons. But the birth of democracy is not the only good thing about Shropshire. The county of Shropshire sits in the West Midlands and is bordered by 5 counties including Cheshire, Staffordshire and Worcestershire. One of England's most rural and sparsely populated regions, it has Britain's longest river, the River Severn, running through its crop-filled landscape. The striking Shropshire Hills to the south of the county have been designated an area of outstanding natural beauty, with their rocky hills forming gentle peaks and troughs of beige and green. 9 miles from the Welsh border, the busy county town of Shrewsbury, in the centre of the region, features an appealing display of red brick and stone buildings lining medieval streets. Its Grade 2 listed arched viaduct, the English Bridge, is a splendid feature across the River Severn. First completed in 1774, the current bridge was rebuilt in 1926 at a cost of £86,000 using the original masonry. It was opened the following year by Queen Mary. With its convenient central location, beautiful scenery and historic towns and villages, Shropshire is a region that really does have it all on a plate. As well as all those wonderful things, Shropshire also has reasonable house prices. The average price for a detached property here is £242,000, which is £30,000 less than the national figure. And where in other counties prices are creeping up, here they still stay well below their 2007 peak price. So what is it that's drawn today's buyers to this lovely county? Let's meet them and find out. Retired planning manager Martin and his curtain maker wife Jacqueline live in this 4-bedroom detached house in Rufford, West Lancashire, and have been married for 26 years. When they met 30 years ago, it brightened up their working day.
It was a work relationship, and Jacqueline's going to tell me she courted her boss, because I was her boss at the time.
But last year, 57-year-old Martin swapped the daily grind for a more relaxed pace of life.
It's coming up to 16 months now I've been retired. I must admit, I have found it difficult adjusting to not working. Throughout my life, I've been a very corporate man. I've always worked for companies, and it'd be quite a challenge doing something for yourself. I want to fill my time a bit more, and I think a project would really give me something to really get my teeth stuck into. We're looking at a new adventure together, really, possibly looking at running a bed and breakfast.
We're just looking for some extra income as well, plus, to give us the flexibility of the lifestyle.
And they've got their eye on central England for their country escape.
We're looking to move to Shropshire because we visited it several times. We love the location. It's very quiet compared to where we live now.
It's not just the peace that's attracting them to the countryside.
Where we live now, it's very, very flat. I'm a keen cyclist, and I'm looking more to the undulating countryside. Whenever we go to somewhere new, first thing I do is send away or pick up cycling leaflets to look for new routes.
Yeah, we do a lot of cycling holidays as well together, and then we do lots of short breaks within the UK with our bikes as well.
And now their sons left home, they're free to follow their dreams.
Calvin is 21 this year, and he's decided to stay in Leeds. He graduates this year. So really that's been the trigger for us to do something for ourselves. We just feel like we are ready for the next step in our lives.
And with their house on the market, the time has come to find a new home that can double up as an exciting new business. Jacqueline's hoping to offer sewing lessons to the guests, and Martin's sure he's also got the skills to make the B&B a roaring success.
I've always been told I could do a very good poached egg.
Jacqueline and Martin don't want to be too far away from their son in Leeds, friends in Lancashire and family in South Wales, so have decided to move somewhere around the Shrewsbury area, but will consider moving further afield if the house is right. And before we kick off our search for a dual-purpose property, I'm meeting them in the county to make sure I know exactly what it is they're looking for. Welcome to Shropshire, you two. Thanks for bringing me here. It's a lovely county.
Thank you.
A glorious day as well.
I know. And tell me exactly your dream home.
Well, we're looking for a detached house, and we're looking for a property with potential for a bed and breakfast. So about 4 to 5 rooms.
Have you done anything like that before?
No, it's a completely new thing. We thought it would suit our lifestyle, something that the two of us can be involved in. And then we're also looking for a room for me to carry on my sewing business.
Yeah. What about you, Martin? What do you want in terms of the outside? Are you a gardener?
I'm becoming more of a gardener now. I have more time on my hands, Alistair. Nothing too large. I don't want it too daunting. Maybe up to 3/4 of an acre.
Do you need to be in a community or do you want to be out in the sticks?
We'd like to be near amenities, you know, not too remote, not too far away from anywhere.
In terms of the bed and breakfast, are you looking for sort of one of these ones where it's all separate, or are you wanting them to kind of eat with you and live with you?
We're really open on that. Ideally, it would be nice if it's separate, but if it is integrated in some way, we're quite happy to work around that, yeah.
Remind me again of your budget. How much have we got to play with?
Our budget is £500,000, and we don't mind doing some work as well within that budget.
Great, well, that's a good, healthy budget, especially
Yes.
here in Shropshire.
Yes, it
Hopefully.
is.
Well, hopefully we won't disappoint. Let's go and look, because the houses are ready and waiting.
Okay,
Follow me.
thank you.
Thank you.
Jacqueline and Martin's budget may be pretty generous for this part of England, but they are looking for a 2-in-1, which presents a bit more of a challenge. They want a detached property with 4 to 5 bedrooms, so 2 or 3 can be part of a new bed and breakfast business. Jacqueline would also like a room to hold sewing classes, and Martin would love to get stuck into a good-sized garden. And they'd like to be within arm's reach of local facilities. To get Jacqueline and Martin one step closer to realising their dream, we'll be taking them to see 3 contrasting properties. And once they've toured each one, we'll let them know its cost. Their final tour will be around the Mystery House, a property whose exterior hides what lies within, and after more than 25 years of marriage could see our duo taking another trip down the aisle. Our first property is located near the village of Maysbrook, just outside the larger village of Knockin. It's 12 miles northwest of Shrewsbury and 5 miles from the Welsh border. Knockin is a pretty village, much of which was once owned by the Earl of Bradford, whose family name is still evident. There are many handsome and historic buildings, plus the essential amenities to hand, situated in a striking rural setting. The beautiful location already attracts visitors wanting to stay the night and explore the area. Just under 2 miles away, back on the outskirts of Maysbrook, is our first property. This imposing period house was once a timber-framed hall, where locals lived at one end and their animals at the other. Come onto the lawn, you can see the full splendour of house number 1.
Wow. Fabulous. Looks
Certainly
lovely.
characterful.
Isn't it just?
Yes.
And this is a classic, you know, of course, these black and white houses all the way
Yes.
through Shropshire. But this is a very historic one. It goes back to 1485.
Oh, my God.
Okay.
It's history.
Yeah. A lot of extensions in the 17th century and then in the 20th century again, and then in 2008, completely modernised. What do you think?
Beautiful. Really nice.
Yes, it's certainly got
Yes.
a hell of a history, isn't it?
This 15th century house has seen many changes over the past 500 years and is a real mix of old meets new. We're heading to the back door, which would be the guest entrance if this property became a B&B. And we're starting off in the large open-plan kitchen diner. Come on inside. Now you get an idea of the inside space.
Wow, beautiful.
Very light
Yeah.
and airy.
So you can see the periodness. I mean, these are all original beams,
Yes.
obviously, from the, probably from the 15th century.
Beautiful.
You've got the kitchen, very open-plan kitchen here, and light on both sides. And then you've got a little breakfast niche here. And then round there, you've got the dining room.
It's a great area for a bed and breakfast, I think, as well.
What do you think of the
Yes.
facilities? Is this what you were thinking of?
Yes,
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I just love the open plan, the fact that you've got the dining area in the same place, and also the sitting area with the wood burner.
Yeah.
It feels
one thing.
homely.
Moving through a dining room in the middle of the house, we find ourselves in a large sitting room. More beams.
It's a really good size as well.
It is, isn't it?
And this would be also perhaps quite nice as a sort of guest room if you wanted to have a separate room for your
Yes,
B&B guests.
that's right, yes.
I like the way they've kept everything so light, you know, the walls and the colourings. It's just, even though you got the wood panelling in the ceilings, it's light.
Well, through here there's a little study room which has another door out into the garden.
Okay.
We thought that could be a sewing room. You can explore that a bit later on, but I want to show you upstairs because that's where you would be putting your guests and yourself. On the first floor there are 3 double bedrooms, a single, a family bathroom, a shower room, and at the front of the house above the kitchen is the largest of the 5 bedrooms. This is the master bedroom.
Beautiful. And it's got an ensuite.
It's got an
Which is
ensuite.
good.
Martin, what are your thoughts? You've gone all quiet.
No, I just amazed how light an area is again upstairs. Love the ceiling.
And it's nice having the double windows
Yeah,
either side, so you get
either
plenty
side.
of light coming in.
Well, what's interesting here is you can see this is the crook construction. You see this big curved
Yes.
Oh,
beam.
yes.
Yeah.
This is what makes the house historically interesting because it's actually a 4 crook. So crooks are when you have the bent oaken sort of beams that meet in the middle. So quite unusual.
Very good.
You've gone off with the
Okay,
fairies,
sorry.
Martin. Are you dreaming about waking up here or are you worried about woodworm?
No, no.
Woodworm.
Are you
It's just so
thinking...
peaceful. I think that's what I'm finding. It's just so quiet.
You wanted something nice, light and airy. You can't beat anything more than this, can you?
This centuries-old house seems to have taken Jacqueline and Martin's breath away, and it has real B&B potential. Martin's determined to keep busy during his early retirement, and if running a guest house isn't enough, I think the extensive gardens with mature shrubs and 2 orchards would do just that. Beautiful views all over the Shropshire
Yeah.
hills.
Fabulous.
So the garden is it's a good size. They say 3/4 of an acre.
Right.
You've got a big veggie patch over there, lovely kind of
Oh, look forward to
veggie
seeing
beds.
that.
Double garages here, which could be your sewing studio, perhaps.
Okay. Okay.
And then on the side here, you've got a separate garden which you could have for your guests. And you can really see the wonderful character of the house
Yeah,
here. with this-
absolutely.
I think it shows up more from the back than
Yeah.
the front, doesn't it, the character?
What do you think this is on the market for? That's the key issue.
I'd
Think.
say 495.
Martin?
I'd possibly go 475 myself.
475. In this instance, Martin, you should listen to your wife because she is exactly on the money.
Is she?
Really?
It's on the market for 495.
Oh, really?
All right.
There you go.
So perhaps if you go back inside and when you've had a good old mosey round, we'll meet at the front and then we'll go on to the next house.
Okay,
Okay.
that's right. Thank you.
Head on back in.
Okay.
This detached house is full of character and is on the market just under Jacqueline and Martin's budget. It would give them £5,000 change. It's got exactly the number of bedrooms they're after for themselves and their guests, plus a study and a garage with a workshop, either of which would be perfect as a sewing room for Jacqueline. The beautiful gardens would be a pleasure to look after, and the property's location is rural but still close to amenities.
Well, I love the house. It's picture postcard perfect. The negative points really for us would be the upstairs from the bed and breakfast point of view. The rooms are quite small apart from the main bedroom, which is very large, but the 4 bedrooms, the other 4 are quite small, and I don't see an awful lot of scope to make them bigger or to put en suites in, which is what people want these days when they go to a bed and breakfast.
They've created the downstairs into a large open-plan kitchen cum dining area, and it really is spacious. It was very, very impressive. And then I was very surprised then to be led through into an equally impressive lounge, which was quite large as well. So the downstairs area was absolutely really spot on.
Okay, guys, are you all done?
Yes?
Well, even if you're not all done, you'll have to leave because that's our time over here. And we've got another house to visit.
Okay.
Great.
Follow me. Jacqueline and Martin love cycling, and what better way to appreciate the scenic Shropshire countryside with its plentiful river valleys and hills than on two wheels. The National Cycle Network has 14,700 miles of cycle routes which run the length and breadth of Britain, with one pretty spectacular path winding through this lush county. Jacqueline and Martin have come to Hampton Load railway station near Bridgnorth, which has the bike path running alongside it. They're meeting local cycle guide Chris Dartnell, who's been cycling in the area for the past 25 years.
This is one of the first stops on the Mercian Cycleway.
Okay.
And it's Route 45, and it goes from here all the way up to Chester, and it's 200 miles. We're not going to cycle all 200 miles today.
Okay.
5 miles for you.
And the terrain, is it good?
Well, around here, there's a little really nice family track that runs down to the country park,
Right.
and just past that there's a forest.
Okay.
So it suits lots of different people. Then after this, it's more undulating.
Sounds good.
And so it kind of suits everybody, really.
Okay,
Excellent.
undulating, not too hilly.
No, not too hilly,
Right.
but there are hills in it. So we better crack on, do you think?
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay, let's go.
The Mercian Way gets its name as it meanders through the ancient kingdom of Mercia, which was once ruled by King Offa, the first king of England, in 757. The trio are travelling 2 miles south before their first stop at the Severn Valley Country Park. This area used to be prime coal mining territory until 1969, when mining ceased, and the park was opened in 1992.
What do you think of the cycling so far?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Really, really scenic.
Beautiful. I find that quite tough because it's so flat where we live.
Yes.
And
It's a
the
bit
hills
hilly.
are quite difficult, so but
It's only
great.
a very short hill coming up to here, though.
After stopping to appreciate the breathtaking views across the valley of the River Severn, it's back in the saddle to cycle a further 3 miles south to the Arley Arboretum, which is part of the 1,600-acre Arley estate. The 19th century walled garden is considered one of the world's finest tree collections and includes rare and exotic tropical plants, some dating back to the mid-1800s. A more recent addition to this 200-year-old attraction is Arliensis, which is Latin for of Arley. It's a miniature historical replica of the Arley estate in the 1820s. The project began 4 years ago and is ongoing. It's always looking for volunteers, so could well be something that green-fingered Martin could get involved in to keep himself busy during his retirement. He and Jacqueline are meeting the project's curator, Peter Howells.
This is our first building. It was built by my son. It's going to look like this forevermore, believe it or not. There's going to be little figures hammering the floorboards down and actually involved in the building of the construction here.
So what inspired you to build this, Peter?
A man called Roland Callingham. He is the founder of Beaconscott, the
Right.
oldest model village in the country.
How many models do you plan to?
Right, well, this whole area, it is actually a volunteers project where we're hoping to get grandmas and granddads interested enough to come and build us these models. We've got a castle going up on the top there, we've got a windmill, a replica of the church that we have on the ground here.
When it's complete, this eco-friendly tiny village will feature over 500 miniature trees and plants from all over the world. Peter is hoping his vision will preserve the estate's history for generations to come. Travelling just over 35 miles south takes us to our second property in the village of Clunton. It's almost 28 miles southwest of Shrewsbury and about a mile east of the town of Clun. Clun is a small town which takes its name from the river that runs through it, and it's said to be one of the most tranquil spots in England. Situated in the Shropshire Hills area of outstanding natural beauty, it boasts stunning vistas, especially from the ruins of the Norman Clun Castle, and it has a pretty town centre with an attractive mix of houses, and there's a traditional pub. A 3-minute drive and we're in Clunton at our second property, which stands in the Arvon Centre, 26 acres of woodland, once home to the late playwright John Osborne, and now a retreat for writers. Down a long, windy road, or rather up a long, windy road, into the hills and the forest to this.
OK.
Very different offering.
It is a totally different offering.
Yeah.
It was an old coach house. You can see the arches where they would drive the coaches in.
Yeah.
And also the stables. So it's been converted by the present owners. And unlike the one this morning, this is being run as a B&B.
All right.
Is it?
That's interesting.
So what are your impressions of the actual building?
Fantastic.
So this is a
Very
big
peaceful.
forest. So it's about a 100-acre forest, and you have right to roam around it as a resident.
OK.
So from that aspect, do you think it's sort of somewhere you could imagine living?
Yeah, I can imagine it would make a great bed and breakfast.
But before we roam around the outside, I want to show Jacqueline and Martin the inside of what could be their new home and new venture. And we're starting off our tour in the rather large sitting room with its fantastic views across the valley. What is your vibe as you walk in?
Great size, just the sort of thing we're looking for a lounge.
It's cosy.
And unlike the other property, this has a separate sitting room for your guests.
Right.
So this would be your family space.
OK. OK.
Just behind the sitting room in the main body of the house is the kitchen. So smaller offering than the last.
Yes, it is a bit.
It's very dark and small.
Small.
Feel a bit more oppressive in here, isn't it?
It does, yeah.
That's the only feeling.
Yeah.
It's more sort of segregated in the sense that this would be your kitchen, this is where you cook, and your guests would be at the other end of the house.
OK,
Yes.
that's a positive thing.
Yeah, yeah, no.
But part of the reason we want to bring you here is to show you the B&B setup upstairs.
Yes, OK.
Which I think is more to what you're looking for.
All right.
OK.
On one side of the kitchen, there's a utility room, and on the other, the guest dining room. I can see Jacqueline and Martin taking it all in. There's a lot to consider when you're searching not only for a family home, but also somewhere suitable to put up your guests. Maybe upstairs will help them see things more clearly. There's a family bathroom, a double bedroom which is used by the owner as the master, 2 smaller rooms, and the next room along is a guest sitting room with a rather attractive arched window.
Fabulous, yeah, I like
All
that.
right.
This is a lovely sunny aspect.
Yes, love it. Very nice.
But this is currently what they use for the guests, and then through here is one of the guest rooms. So there's a child's bedroom there, and then this is the ensuite
OK.
top dollar guest room.
Okay.
Right.
Lovely views.
Yeah,
It
terrific
is.
views
Yeah,
again.
you've got
So
2
I think
windows.
it shows great self-sacrifice on the present owner's part to
Yes.
give this to the guests.
Yes.
Oh, well, let's go and have a look at the outside space,
OK.
Yeah.
find out the price, and then you can
All right.
balance it all up. Well, there's no doubting the fact that this property is set up perfectly as a B&B. Let's see how the outside space fares. The double garage is currently being used as a games room, but there's scope to develop it into more guest rooms or a sewing room. We're going to the patio garden at the rear of the house. Oh, it's such a lovely spot.
Yes.
Very tranquil. It's not a huge garden, it's actually just up to this wall. So it's really a small terraced garden. And the land at the front there that slopes down to the view over the valley.
OK.
So very manageable.
Very easy to maintain.
It's like a wooded valley, and it's like you're surrounded by forest, really, isn't it?
Looking at the outside, I think it would be a possibility that you could put an extension on, which would totally transform it.
Absolutely. In that case, we need to talk about budget. Will you have the money to do that? How much do you think this property is on the market for?
I would say 460.
I'd say 435.
Well, in this instance, you're both wrong.
OK.
It is actually on at 470.
Oh,
Really?
OK. Oh, right.
So a little bit over what you said.
Yes.
Not miles out. You need to make sure it's something you could do something with. So
Yeah.
have a wander round, and you know the drill. I'll see you at the front.
OK.
OK.
OK, thank you.
All right, thanks.
This Grade 2 listed coach house is on the market at £30,000 under Jacqueline and Martin's budget, and it's all set up and ready to go as a B&B. There are 3 guest bedrooms, and the layout downstairs means privacy for the owners when welcoming guests. And although the garden isn't as big as they'd like, the house is set in a stunning estate with fabulous views.
OK. This is
Right.
the owner's bedroom.
This is the master, is it? Right, OK.
Very small.
small and it's not very light, you know. Well, obviously the guest room might take priority. We had the 2 windows in the guest room, didn't you? My initial reaction when we approached it, it's a wooded valley, so it's a lot more secluded and darker than the other place. But the view is absolutely stunning.
First impression coming up the drive, as soon as we saw the property, I thought it looked lovely. It looked nice and spacious. Fantastic view across the valley. I think also the small lounge upstairs, beautiful room, probably the best room in the house. But looking around all of the rooms, I just thought it was very dark.
I think if we took a property like this, we'd want to adjust quite a few things on it.
I think it would work very well as a bed and breakfast, but I don't think that it's a good home for us.
Just taking in the tranquility of the place. It's really gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
It is very peaceful.
Have you seen everything you need to see
I
inside?
think we have, yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's been a long day. Let's find a place to relax and mull over what you've seen.
Why not?
Okay.
It's the second day of our jaunt around Shropshire, looking for a country home for Jacqueline and Martin from Rufford, West Lancashire. Armed with a generous budget of £500,000, they're looking for a country abode that doubles up as a B&B. Coming up, our mystery house will be revealed, and I just pray it goes down well. And I can see it on the front of your flyers for your B&B.
Well, it's certainly an unusual...
Certainly attract people,
It
isn't
would.
it? Yes.
And I'll be having a day on the tiles.
That's not bad. That's
a surprise, Jennifer. It would take me weeks to do this. One thing became clear to me yesterday, and that's how important this B&B business is, for Martin particularly. I think Jacqueline would be happy doing her curtains in the first house, for example, but I think Martin's struggling a little bit with knowing what to do with himself in his retirement. So having a good project to get his teeth into could be crucial. So the Mystery House offers them a lot of character, but also lots of B&B potential. Let's hope they like it. How are you feeling today?
Very excited.
Excited about the Mystery House?
Yes, very excited.
What do you think we might be showing you?
I really don't know, but I just hope it's not going to be a property that's got small rooms and very dark rooms.
The mystery house usually tends to be an unusual building, a conversion like maybe a church.
You're expecting a conversion?
Of something unusual.
Our final visit takes us 44 miles northeast to the town of Newport, a 40-minute drive from Shrewsbury and close to the Staffordshire border. Newport is a Britain in Bloom finalist, and its centre offers locals a good selection of shops and eateries. A striking blend of architecture lines the streets, with some Norman buildings still evident. Only the Guildhall and Smallwood Lodge remain after a fire swept through the high street in 1665. Just on the outskirts of town and down a tree-lined drive is our third and final house. The mystery is revealed at first sight. Well, I have to say, Martin, you were very accurate. It's like you have second sight.
A church.
The Mystery House is a church.
It is.
The church this next door is the old church which he knocked down to build this one.
Oh, right.
Right.
Looks very pretty.
Character, isn't it? That's what screams at you when you first see it. You like the stone?
Yes, this beautiful red sandstone
Yeah.
that you see all around Shropshire.
Yeah.
And I can see it on the front of your flyers for your B&B.
Well, it's certainly an unusual...
Certainly attract people,
It
doesn't
would.
it? Yes.
Let's look inside.
OK.
This striking Grade II listed church dates back to 1800 and was converted from a derelict shell, making use of many reclaimed materials. The ground floor is laid out in a rectangle with an octagonal room at the back and a tower at the front, which is where we're entering the building and heading straight for the kitchen diner.
It looks a labour of love, doesn't it?
I like it.
It is very nice, very unusual.
There's some scope to make more use of the space, I think.
And then there's a utility room and larder and pantry all through there, so
that's
more
useful.
storage. All your
Yes.
white goods.
That's very handy.
And remember, of course, that, you know, that obviously the original church didn't have any interior walls.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you could, of course, move things around. Let's head towards the altar.
OK.
Moving on from the kitchen of this beautiful church, there's a small bedroom cum study and a shower room on the opposite side of the house. and we're entering the open-plan living area, which takes up the rest of the ground floor.
Oh, I love this room.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
This is the centrepiece of the house, you can guess.
it is absolutely stunning.
So this would have been the altar. When you sit in a church, the windows are high, so you can't see out of them. So the problem with that, of course, if you're living here, is that you don't get any views. So they stepped it up. You can look out at these beautiful kind of vaulted windows.
Making the most of the view. Yeah. Wow, it's just really impressive,
It's
isn't
stunning,
it?
absolutely stunning.
So what is the vibe you get? What's the feeling of...
It's really, really positive.
Yes,
I
very,
like it a lot.
very much so.
It's just
So unusual.
so different,
Yeah.
but homely as well.
So the decision you have to make is like how to make it work as a B&B.
Yes.
This beautiful conversion gives Jacqueline and Martin the freedom to decide how they want to divide it as a B&B. The first floor is smaller than the ground as it's square. There's a family bathroom with a feature window and a further 3 bedrooms, 1 single and an ensuite double. And at the front of the house is the master bedroom.
It's lovely.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
It is lovely.
Beautiful.
Big and spacious, huh?
It is, yeah.
Window, fabulous.
South-facing window, and then there's an ensuite which is in the tower, in the bell tower.
Incredible.
Okay. Lovely feel.
It's
Lovely.
wonderfully done.
So is this a bit more what you were looking for in terms of a B&B room?
Yes, very much so.
Yes,
This
in
would be a
terms of the
perfect
standard,
B&B
yeah.
room.
I think it would be hard not to be wowed by this property, and I'm sure it would hold great appeal for guests. Outside, the landscape gardens are a striking contrast to the imposing red sandstone of the church.
What do you think?
Very nice layout. It's very tasteful and
It's just beautifully kept.
it's beautifully kept.
Very, very private.
You do have wonderful countryside all around.
And it's very quiet.
Very quiet.
No traffic.
No.
There is also this very big garage space here,
Okay.
which is, huge, and it could easily be turned into a workroom for you,
Okay.
or even converted.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
It's wonderful.
a good vibe.
It is.
Yes, it's lovely.
A very good vibe. I'm
Lovely.
just a bit lost for words. It's just staggered.
Can I drag a few more words about the price out of you?
Okay,
Ooh.
right.
So I'm going to go for 495, Alistair.
A little bit below at 485.
Well, it is actually right at the top of your budget, right at the top of your budget. It's £5 short of £500,000, so at 499,995.
Oh, okay.
So there's obviously space for a bit of negotiation.
I
But
think that sounds
from a B&B,
reasonable.
there's plenty to market, though, isn't it, in
There
terms
is,
of
yeah, it's so unique.
unique?
Definitely. Well, why don't you have a look at, you can have a look at the garden, but also
Yeah.
look upstairs and check out those bedrooms, see if it's going to work.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Back in. Churches are always so risky, but I think this is a beautiful conversion and seems to have cast a spell, if churches are allowed to do that.
This listed converted church is only £5 under Jacqueline and Martin's budget, but there's always room for negotiation, and it would make a great marketing tool to attract guests if it became a B&B. It has just enough bedrooms for them and guests, and a garage that would be the perfect space for Jacqueline's sewing room. And the gardens may not be extensive, but they are striking and easy to look after.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's an interesting space.
It's very, very big.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Could convert it into a sewing room.
Well, I know that's what you're after.
It's really good size. When I first saw the house, I was quite taken aback at how beautiful it is. The garden is immaculate.
Certainly when we walked into the driveway, I was quite lost for words, really. It's just unique. It's been very, very tastefully renovated. And the exterior, even though the garden's not very large, it is lovely, very nice.
It's very different to everything we've seen so far. I think it would make a great bed and breakfast, very unusual inside. It's been converted really, really well, and I think it will attract a lot of people.
I just think it's such a unique opportunity to move outside the box. It's just unbelievable.
OK, so that's the mystery house done, all 3 properties seen.
Okay.
So let's go and find a place to have a cup of tea and then we can pick your brains about how it's been for you.
Plenty
Sounds
of food
great.
for thought, must admit.
Jacqueline and Martin are attracted to Shropshire's gorgeous countryside, but the county is also proud of its industrial and cultural background. There are historical sites all over the region, and over a century ago it was known for its production of ceramics due to its proximity to clay deposits. In 1872, the Craven Dunnell Jackfield Works were founded in the Iron Bridge Gorge, a World Heritage Site and home to the world's first arched iron bridge. The factory produced ceramic wall and floor tiles, which are still made here today. The site is the oldest surviving purpose-built tile factory in the world, and it's now also a museum. I've come to meet curator Matt Thompson to find out a bit more about its colourful history.
I don't think I've ever been to a tile museum before.
Yeah, there's not many of them around, to be fair. There's not many of them around. But this, what you've got here, is a preserved example of a real model factory. The classic phrase they used was from dust to dispatch. They made a lot of the tiles out of dust. They pressed them under hydraulic pressure, brought them in at one end of the factory, went through all of the different processes, and finally get to the sale room just here at this side. Ceramics were always really important. I mean, way back into the 1600s, they were making clay tobacco pipes, and ceramics really started to pick up towards the back end of the 19th century. Would you like to have a look inside?
Of course.
The factory was built alongside the Severn Valley Railway, which was an ideal spot to transport raw materials in and ship the finished goods out. In its heyday at the turn of the 20th century, the factory was producing around 20 million tiles a year. The finely crafted ceramics would end up everywhere, from humble terraced houses to the Houses of Parliament or a Maharaja's palace.
And what we've got here is an example of just some of the tiles that they produced at the factory here. We like to think that there was some of the best quality material was produced from this area.
I'm struck by the incredible kind of beauty of the patterns.
What we've got here are encaustic floor tiles. It's a very old method of production where the pattern isn't just on the surface, the pattern is actually within the body of the tile itself. So it's very hard wearing, it's perfect for floors.
So floor tiles, but then there was also that great explosion of wall tiles.
Yeah, certainly. Over there, the ones with the sort of more highly finished, glazed surfaces, they can't take the kind of punishment that you'd have for floor tiles, but it does mean that they can be slightly more decorative than perhaps these bold, simple designs that we've got here.
But you're still producing tiles here?
We're really pleased that within the building that we restored, we've got the tile company that originally built this factory. They've come back and they've continued to produce tiles actually within the site itself.
Currently, there are 25 members of staff here working in tile production, and they produce around 1,000 tiles a day. Each one is handmade to order, and they're also sold worldwide. Jennifer Keller has been with the factory for 13 years and is going to show me how it's done.
This is the dust bit, is it?
Absolutely. This has been dust pressed on the original Victorian machines.
Amazing.
And you can see here the pattern that's been put on, which shows the back stamp where the tile's made. So the smooth side, when they've been fired, is brought into this area, and we're going to decorate it.
And these are the things that you actually sell from the factory?
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that we do within the Art Nouveau range.
So how long would it take you to do this design?
Me?
You?
A couple of minutes.
A couple of minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's
we can
really...
do about 100 a day.
I'd probably be lucky if I could do one a day.
After the tile is made, an image is transferred onto it using charcoal.
Like dot to dot?
It is like a little dot-to-dot design. And then the idea is that we're going to follow those lines with the clay slip.
The slip is liquid clay, which provides an outer wall for the design to stop colours running together.
The idea is that you don't touch the tile, keep it lifted up in the air, and guide with one hand, squeeze with the other hand.
It's not the easiest thing I've ever witnessed, but I'm a willing apprentice, and I'm going to give it a go.
I've got to join up.
Absolutely, try not to leave any gaps, and squeeze much harder.
Harder, my
That's
gosh.
it. No, you're fine. You're fine. That's not bad. That's
That's
great.
a surprise, Jennifer.
So normally you'd practice for about 6 months before you did them commercially. So you'd have a bit of time to
That's supposed to 6 seconds.
get on top of it. No, that's pretty good.
How long does it would take me weeks to do this? Yeah, I'm going to let you finish it off.
Okay, that's fine. you did really well.
Thank you very much. The speed is incredible at which you do this.
Once the outline of the design has dried, the colours are applied. They look very different to the finished product. The liquid glaze is made from powdered glass mixed with metal oxides, which give the colour, which are suspended in water. Copper oxide will turn green, and red iron oxide or yellow ochre oxide yellow.
So the colours are put into the different
It's so
area.
drab.
It is very different before and after it's fired in the kiln. So there's just these small sections here left to do.
So this is presumably when it glazes, it turns into those beautiful kind of translucent.
Absolutely, these sections here are all yellow and these are actually a lovely green.
So basically it's dot to dot and colouring in.
Yeah.
When the design is complete, the tile is fired in the kiln for 2 days at a temperature of 1040 degrees. This melts the powdered glass and creates a chemical reaction with the metals in the dyes, and the dull hues transform into vibrant shades.
Ah, look how much prettier they look.
Some of the Art Nouveau designs, and as you can see, this one here is
Gosh,
very similar.
It's like magic.
Absolutely, all the colours are exactly the same. And this one here, as you can see, is going to become that one there.
It is like alchemy, isn't it? Something that looks a little like a school child's drawing, comes out looking very professional.
Absolutely, the kiln does marvellous things.
I'm not sure mine will look quite so beautiful. But...
Well, I'm sure you'll be pleased with it when you get it.
Thank you so much.
You're
It's
very
amazing.
welcome.
It's a real pleasure. And I'm sure I'll be spotting tiles everywhere I look for the next few
I
days.
hope so.
Because converted churches are always a bit of a dark horse, my money was actually on the first house. But I think I may have been proved wrong. Let's go find out. Let's cut to the chase. I want to know which of the houses is a contender.
Well, every house was such a contrast. I think the last one is the most impressionable, for me anyway.
Yes, it was the mystery house, definitely.
Oh. What was it that finally swayed you on that?
Well, I was overwhelmed by, obviously, such the uniqueness of it, and I just feel what a unique opportunity to live in such a, you know, stunning environment, really. I think from our project of a B&B, which is obviously what started this whole process, I think it has a USP, the unique selling point of a church. I think it would be a very attractive marketing thing, that would.
I think it'll be great for a bed and breakfast.
Well, it's music to our ears. Have you found the whole experience has sort of G'd you up?
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
very much so.
I mean, I'm fired up now to start planning what I would do potentially if we did put a bid in for that property, what rooms we could do and what we could utilise the space for. So it's given me a feeling like, oh, I'm excited that way to start a project.
Well, I really hope that Shropshire provides pastures fresh for you.
I hope so as well.
And it would be great if it was the mystery house, but do keep us in the loop.
We will.
certainly
We've
will.
really enjoyed it. It's been a really good experience.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alistair.
If they go and explore the countryside around the mystery house, Martin and Jacqueline will discover that it's not a million miles away from the stunning Ironbridge Gorge, which is a complete magnet for B&B guests. And even if they don't go for our property, I think we've given them the Shropshire bug. So join us next time on Escape to Country for more beautiful British countryside.
Jacqueline and Martin have indeed decided that this area of Shropshire is where they want to make their move, but they've put their house hunt on hold until they've sold their Lancashire home. If you would like to escape to the country in Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, or further afield to the continent and need our help, please apply online at bbc.co.uk/be on a show.